Dubs up. Right here chilling with Steelo Magazine. You know what it is, your boy Krazy Race. You know what I mean? I've said it many times before. Los Angeles representative, Los Angeles MC. Right here doing it, you know what I mean? Keeping it live. Realism all day, reflecting.
What's up, Race? Let's jump right into the international project. How'd that one come about?
International project was something, you know what I mean, a little bit different. I wanted to really do something that nobody's done before, you know what I'm saying? So with the international project, it stemmed off from working with a producer out of France, you know what I mean, X for 7. And homeboy shot me some beats. I heard him, like, this shit's dope, and it was international beats. And I already had homies, them EQ and a few other heads. I deal with Jaguar Paw. We're fucking heavy with a lot of international cats, and I was like, you know what? This is kind of dope, you know what I mean? But I've never seen anybody complete a whole project. And you see a lot of producers doing albums, you know what I mean, and they'll feature a bunch of MCs and shit like that, but no independent artist to date that I know of had ever put out an album where 100% of the production was international. You know what I mean? So once I got the ball rolling, it kind of fucking was like, you know what I mean? It would turn into a speedball. I mean, it was like, all right, now I got this country, I got Mexico, now I got Japan, now I got Italy. Fuck, well, I need more countries. So it ended up getting to the point where the album was done. You know, I recorded at the Hennessy Lounge. Shout out to the Hennessy Lounge. Recorded there. And the album was already done around 15 tracks. But I kept telling myself I want more countries. And so literally the album grew from 15 to like 25. We got 25 songs in that record. A lot of really dope features, you know what I mean? Musicians, singers. But as far as actual countries that made that album, it was 16 countries.
What was the time frame for that to get put together?
I would say about a year and a half. You know what I mean? It was, you know what I mean? About a year of just, you know what I mean, building. Because a lot of times when you're dealing with international cats, you know, some of them are sending you stems and Pro Tools files. A lot of times I'm just getting fucking shitload of beats. Like, here's a folder of like 30, 40 beats. And I'm like zoning out, like, all right, boom. And I kind of have a different way of working than I think some people do. A lot of times people like to write. You know what I'm saying? They're just writing on the regular, even using other people's beats to write. I've never really took that approach. For me, if I put my thoughts down, if I do anything that's music related, I'm talking to that beat that I'm writing to at that present moment. So with the international project, there was a lot of times when I would take beats, throw them into that international project folder, and they may get thrown back out just because maybe the mood or the vibe wasn't right. And so just when it came to writing, you know what I mean, I just went in on it. But, you know what I mean, it took some time. I don't know if that answered the question correctly.
You know what, the intensity that the album got behind it, is there anything that's in the works that's expected to carry the same intensity that the international project carries?
Yeah, you know what I mean, I think the difference is with, in comparison to my other projects, the one thing that I want to mention, I've said this on numerous interviews as well, is that when people listen to one of my albums, for the OGs and the supporters that know who I am from day one, they pretty much know what they're going to get when they get a Krazy Race album. You know what I mean? Even Quad can tell you that. And there's a few elements that every one of my albums have. And I don't know if you can say they're really elements, but topics or genres or certain things I talk about. So with every album, including the international project, even though it was 25 records, you know what I mean? Most of their albums are like 15 to 17, sometimes 18 records, but with that one was 25. But all the albums, I'm always talking about street shit. You know what I mean? What we go through, what you go through, what my homies go through, what my family goes through. I'm always talking about life in general. You know what I mean? The good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm always talking about politics and some of the shit that people don't like to talk about or even open up about. You know what I mean? And I'm always just doing some good, straight up on the ground, what you call boom bap. So those are like 4 categories that every one of my albums I'm always going to have. And so to answer your question, my next album that I'm stacking beats for right now is called Mark My Words. You know what I mean? It's coming. It's going to probably come around this time next year. I haven't written one single lyric to it yet, but that's the dope part about it, because just the beats that I'm getting right now are just fire, bro. Fucking fire. So I've been doing a lot of collaborations in the meantime, and I'm actually gonna, this is some exclusive shit for you guys. I'm probably gonna drop a collabos album prior to the Mark My Words album. So, you know what I mean? I'm probably, kind of like how Jack did Stray Bullets, I'm going to do something similar. And then me and Bamboo, you know what I mean? OG Bamboo, we're going to probably do a project together as well. We've been in talks, so.
And now that you mentioned the political being a topic, you know, politics, one of the songs, me and Andy were listening to it, straight went into people that really, something that people don't really want to touch. They're afraid of, they're afraid of government manipulation, but you guys straight out threw that out there. You guys threw chemtrails, like,
right.
You know, something that you see on a daily, but, you know, they don't pay attention to it. Like, do you guys ever, I know there's artists who try to derail from going that way just simply because of what it might bring as far as consequences? Are you guys ever afraid that those topics are going to generate any kind of controversy?
Nah, you know what? At the end of the day, I said in Illuminati, I said, you know what I mean? Like, I'm an activist and I'm not taking these words back. You know what I mean? And I think from day one, from my first album, enlightening my people and speaking on issues that a lot of people don't touch, I think that's always been very important of what kind of artist I am. You know what I'm saying? The same with doing like community-based events. Yeah, I can get paid and get booked to do a show, but on the flip side of that, I also want to do shows that are going to benefit and help my community, just like when we did, you know what I mean, the Mexica New Year event. Like, I like, those are the events that I live for, you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to politics, when it comes to, I don't even know if you'd really consider me a political rapper. It's more about speaking fucking truth, you know what I mean? Even though you got to check the source sometimes, I'd rather open up that door, that Pandora's box, than not do it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we are living with that shit. You know, chemtrails right here, and if you look at the bigger picture, most of the time you see chemtrails, it's over a park and it's over a school. You know what I mean? I have a school right here. I have an elementary actually. It's a junior high right here. I see them all the fucking time. So I was like, you know what? It's time for me to get my study on and learn more about this. And not only that, but a fan. You know what I mean? A supporter right here from my city was like, hey, homie, I think you should talk about this. And I was like, nah, you know what I mean? I think you're right. I think it's time to open that box. And you know what I mean? I'd already done songs like The Movement and Evolution of Revolution, Illuminati. And so chemtrails was just something that I wanted to touch on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was definitely dope, man. Just sitting through it and listening to something that so many people are afraid to touch. But at the end of the day, that's what makes Krazy Race, you know, Krazy Race, and the love that you've gotten. And the love that you've gotten has broadened your horizons internationally, sort of like your album, you know what I'm saying? Like, you've been out to Spain, Europe, Japan.
Yep.
Can you tell us about some of those experiences?
Yeah, it was dope, you know what I mean? I was blessed to go to Europe. I want to say it was back in 2005 with Sal Rojas from BrownPride.com. We went out there for a big hip-hop festival called Zaragoza Ciudad. It's a big hip-hop festival. It was with MOP was one of the headliners. To me, that was an honor to open up for those cats just because the energy and the emotion they bring to the table. The Beat Nuts were out there. My buddy Dayton, my homie Dayton from Jersey was out there. Metaphor, MED from Oxnard was out there. Scratch from The Roots. You know what I mean? It was a big dope hip hop festival. So when I went out there, that was one of my first experiences. Like, I'd already been out of the state, but that was the first time I'd ever, you know what I mean, traveled over the seas and shit. So it just opened my eyes, man. And I'll tell you this, one thing about Europe, and I've told this story on Relevance and I've told it off air, but we walked into that fucking venue, right? And you know, you see hip hop, you see graffiti, and you see murals in the hood, right? We got them everywhere. Well, hip hop and graffiti, the elements are worldwide. So, you know what I mean? We're driving on the way to the venue and you see spots that, you know what I mean, they're marked up. There's fucking burners, there's fucking bombs, pieces, tags, all up. We're like, all right, cool. This, you know what I mean? This is Spain. You know what I mean? We're in fucking Barcelona. This is dope. We get to the venue, first day. It's a 2-day event. Walls were white. By the time we left that venue on the second day, I'm not lying when I say this, about 6 feet high on that white fucking wall around the whole arena was blasted. Unlike anything I've ever seen to this day. I've never been to any event, any show, any festival here in the States where they fucking ransacked that place. To the point where Hip Hop Ciudad they weren't gonna allow it to happen because the city sponsored it. It had fucking Heineken sponsors, like it had big, you know what I mean? The actual city is who brought me and Sal out. Besides the magazine Zona de Obras. So that shit was crazy to be able to witness that and just see the intensity of Europe. You know what I mean? Like, they don't fuck around. they got some mad energy when it comes to us rocking stages. Because think about it this way: here in LA, or if you're a New York MC or a Chi-Town MC, and you're from your city, your hood, we get to see each other all the fucking time. It's not really a treat anymore, you know what I mean? When you get to see Krazy Race rock 3 shows in the 6 months, or you've seen me twice in a year, they ain't never seen me before. It was the first time I was out there, so just the love, the energy we got back, and the feedback was just real dope.
You know, since I was back in '05.
Yeah, it was 05.
The consistency to keep those people drawn. What do you, in your opinion, what would think is the Krazy Race formula to just, keep that consistent love and fan base?
Well, I would say, I think it goes back to kind of those core elements that I talked about, what's in my album. Obviously, I think picking production is something I got a good ear for, because, I got to definitely shout out my brother, ringleader DJ Ace. He's been a big part in big chemistry as far as some of the good records that I've made over the years. But just getting production from all the various producers I've worked over the years, like granted, my lyrical content, my delivery, my metaphors, even my tonality, my voice, that carries you. But I think just learning how to be selective with your production to where when I'm writing that beat, I already know, okay, this motherfucking beat's gonna be a monster, or this song is gonna carry this topic. I think that's a big part of the formula. But really, I think it's just being me, dog. I think it's just at the end of the day that I know that when I put my pen to paper, I'm gonna let that fucker guide it like it's a Ouija board, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just gonna do me. And what comes out, a lot of times, a lot of people will rewrite their whole shit. Very few times, I found as I've gotten older that a lot of times I may not scratch a line no more. A lot of times, I'll just like, fuck it, whatever I write, I'm gonna put it out. It's meant to be said. This is what I'm saying now. I'm gonna put it out. So I think that's a big part of it. Obviously, practice makes perfect, like in anything. So as I've gone on, I think I've kind of perfected and honed my craft. But I think in the bigger part of the picture, it still goes back to speaking about those topics at hand that I like to write about. Because that's what keeps me, kind of well-rounded, and the album's well-rounded.